recognize that. Well, as you can tell by now, it is, of course, a picture. And I'm trying to avoid the writing here to give you too much of a clue. Anyway, that's something as it was. And, of course, if you look at it, it looks like a abbey, a big church, cathedral, some sort of religious building with the pews there and the altar and the stained glass window and the Gothic or Norman columns, all that kind of stuff. That's how it was, and this is how it is now. That's it. And you might be able to make out there the words Father, forgive. So yes, that was the altar up there, and as you can see, as I pan around here, morning fella. Oh, there we go. Who knew? As we go around, that survived. We go around, we go around, we go around, we go around, and of course, once upon a time, this is where the pews would have been, and people would have been sitting there and walking up to the altar and all that stuff. But as you can see, this is nowhere near as it was. And what would cause this sort of damage? Well, a lot of the time it's earthquakes, of course, but not this time, because it was on the 14th of November 1940, and there's a clue there in the date, that what was a cathedral turned into what you have now, where there would have been a lot more rubble and all this stuff, and obviously all that's been cleared. This bit survived. This bit survived the bombing by German warplanes. Indeed. And over there, actually, is the new cathedral. So you can see it's right next to the old one. And we are, of course, in the city of Coventry, which has, since the end of the war, has formed relationships with people and communities in Dresden, actually, in Germany, because they too suffered a lot of damage, and they lost their cathedral. I believe it was a cathedral as well. And so there is some sort of relationship between Coventry, this city, and Dresden in Germany, and also I think in Hiroshima in Japan. And this is an example of what can happen, of course. It wasn't only London that got bombed, but this is, I suppose, how the luck or the bad luck is. And you take St. Paul's Cathedral in London. I mean, that had a bomb actually enter it, but for whatever reason, well, probably because the bomb was close to the actual really thick masonry of some of the walls, but that bomb didn't do so much damage. But it's hard to imagine that the German people targeting would actually have aimed specifically for this cathedral. So it's probably just in the city centre, and with the multitude of bombs that were dropped, then law of averages says that a few of them are going to hit the cathedral, and for, I don't know, maybe a construction reason or something. But as you can see, I suppose once the roof collapses, then that's it, kind of thing. I mean, if the roof were put back on this, I suppose, and the windows were put back in, well, I don't know, may not be that bad. But anyway, but yeah, of course, all the glass would have been blown out for sure. Anyway, Coventry has always been one of these cities I've always wanted to go to, not just for this cathedral, actually, and the one right next to it, the new one there, but for something else, and I'll be coming on to that Maybe the next video or the one after that, not sure. Anyway, so yeah, and this is what, 90 miles from London. I mean, it's kind of a day trip, I suppose. It's about 2.5 hours on the coach, probably a bit quicker by train. So, you know, it is a day trip, I suppose, if you're so inclined. Anyway, now I'm off there. Gotta get some breakfast, actually. Bye.